Hey guys, welcome to the garage. As you can see, we have a pretty big storage issue here. We have too much stuff piled up everywhere and not enough places to put it. So in today's video, I'm going to be solving that problem once and for all by adding some massive storage shelves all the way from that back wall to this door over here. So without further ado, let's get started. But first, we have to clean all of this stuff out temporarily. It's about 3 months later and the back wall is clear. I'm going to go ahead and go over the game plan for these shelves. Here's a pretty simple plan I drew up that I'll be following. So each shelf, except for the first one from the floor, will be 20 inches spaced. This way I can have exactly the height of a 2x4 is the height of the shelf. I'll have vertical supports every 5 feet. And of course, this shelf will be 20 feet wide. Along with that, the shelf will be 2 feet deep. I did that so I could maximize the efficiency of the plywood because it comes at a 4x8 sheet. So I could just slice it down the middle and get perfect 2-foot segments. I'm also going to have some short vertical supports every 34 inches, so I should need about 8 per shelf. Now let's go ahead and find the studs in the wall. Unfortunately, it is pretty difficult to use a stud finder against a textured surface. However, the method I found works best is to hold it with moderate pressure against the wall and then just kind of go across gently. And you should have luck with that. I've marked all of my studs. I also marked the bottom of each shelf just as a sanity check so it's easier to line up the shelves when I install them. I'm going to be using 3.5-inch deck screws to attach the shelving to the wall. So at this point, I think I'm ready to start putting my 2x4s on the wall. I am working alone, so it would be difficult to hold it. So I ended up making these two spacer blocks. They're 14 inches each, and I'll just put them here. Put the 2x4 on top of that, and I should be able to just lay them flat like this, and then just check that they're level, which it is perfectly level. And then at this point, what I'm going to do is just drill pilot holes wherever the studs are. After drilling holes, I used my impact driver to drive in the screws. Two 2x4s down, and now I'm going to cut one in half and put it here because we're making 20-foot shelves. We're on the last row, and my driver's battery is very low. As you can see, I've put my wood on the wall now. You can see it's all relatively level. Some boards aren't perfectly straight, but that's all right. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is start putting in my horizontal supports. Since my shelves are going to be 2 feet deep, I'm going to cut 21-inch segments coming out, and I'm going to need 32 of them. Because I'm making repetitive cuts, I made this stop, so as soon as you line up your piece of wood, that's exactly 21 inches. This should make things a lot easier. Has this precise shadow blade guide system, which is really cool. Here's all 32 of them. At this point, I'm going to drill pocket holes in them, so this should be fairly simple. All the pocket holes are drilled, and it's time to attach these to the wall. I'm going to start at this corner and then just clamp this onto the wall. I'm starting here because there's a stud in the wall, so I can secure this one really well. So let me just level this out. And then for good measure, I'm also going to send one into the stud. I've marked where I want each support to be at every 34 inches or so, and I'm gonna clamp this scrap 2x4 here to make it easier, and then just screw them in. First 2 rows done. That's the last one. Now I'm gonna put 2x4s on each of these rows. I think the top rows will be pretty difficult since I'm working alone, but hopefully with the power of clamps, I can get it done. Two screws. Boards don't always line up perfectly, and that's okay. Home center lumber isn't always great, but I'm going to remedy this just by clamping a piece of scrap wood there and then setting in a couple 2.5-inch screws in the back. Once I've got 2 screws in there, I remove the clamp and then work on this piece, which is clearly the problem piece. Sometimes you do need a second clamp, because there we go. There it is. I think it came out pretty nice. The final step in framing this thing is to put in these vertical supports. I'm gonna put one in every 5 feet. Just level out the shelf and then send in the screws. Framing is all finished, and I actually think it looks really good. This thing is really strong. I got my 7/16 OSB in. I just had an associate at the Lowe's cut it with the saw. It's really quick. It was really simple and really precise, so I think that's a win. So I'm gonna start laying this onto the framing. Should be pretty simple. Just slide the OSB onto each shelf. Finally, I'm going to finish by securing each piece down with 1 3/4 inch screws. Nearing the end, we do have to cut some pieces in half, but that's pretty simple. I'll do that with a circular saw. Just measure out every 4 feet and then mark it. I put several 2x4 spacers under this and set my blade height to make sure that I don't have any binding, so we can go ahead with the cut. There's only 1 screw left in the box, and coincidentally, 1 screw left in the shelf. So let's go ahead and drive in the final screw of this entire project. And these shelves are officially finished. You could take a step back and see how they came out. They actually look really nice. This is awesome because there's going to be a lot of storage. These shelves are finally done. It took me a couple hours to make across multiple days. In terms of screws to use, I definitely recommend these Torx screws. You can see I did definitely overbuy because I have tons of screws left. These were $25 a box and totally worth it. I mean, there's just no comparison to the Phillips head bits where you just strip out screws everywhere you go. So these are definitely worth the money. Along with that, these clamps are really handy, especially for the higher shelves, just because it is especially difficult if you're working alone. I absolutely recommend an impact driver of any sort if you're doing this project, just because it's so much easier to drive in screws. You don't even necessarily need a drill because most of these holes don't have to be pre-drilled. You don't technically need a pocket hole jig, however, I definitely recommend you get one. This one was $50 at Harbor Freight, and I think it was worth every penny. It's really good quality. It made drilling the holes really, really easy, especially with the amount I had to do, and it was really good value. Most of the storage bins I have fit perfectly, so that's how that's gonna work. But I'll do another shot of everything once it's all organized, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think the cost for this project was about maybe $200, so that's really not bad for what it is, because one shelf at the Home Depot could cost like $400. That's a ballpark guess. But yeah, that's all the stuff has been put on the shelves now. You can see it has plenty of storage. I'm really happy with the extra large top because I was able to stack a bunch of things up there. But yeah, this is a really productive project because I was able to really clean out the house, you know, putting all the stuff there. There's still room for more things, as you can see, especially down there. But it's really nice because now there's finally some empty space in the garage. So I'll probably be building a workbench and maybe a little more shelving on this wall. Anyhow, this is a really easy and pretty fun project to do. Even if you're not too experienced in building things, you can definitely pull this off. All you really need is a way to drive in screws, some clamps, and you'd be good to go. This is holding up really well, even with all of the heavy stuff on it. I mean, there's a microwave here, utensils, tons of dishes, and the shelf isn't warping at all, especially on the joints. This is where I was kind of concerned, but it seems to be holding up really well. But yeah, here's a final shot of this entire project. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful, maybe inspiration to do something like this in your own garage. But good luck with your project if you decide to do this, and have a good day.